Are you a physician who's dreaming big? Because I have a physician here to talk to you today about how that is. You know, people talk about how physicians are stuck in their ways, and we do get grounded in what we're doing after training. But how do we dream big? How do we expand where we are after all that training? And how do we start helping to improve and be leaders in healthcare transformation? So today I have a special guest. This is Dr. Elsie Ko with Lead Physician. I have Dr. Nishita Kothary with me. Hi, Nishita. How are you?
Thanks, Elsie. Thanks so much for having me on.
Nishita, Dr. Kothary is a professor of interventional radiology at Stanford. And she's also the new president of the Women's in IR, which is a subsection of the Society of Interventional Radiology. Tell us about the Dream Big book club that you started in Women's in IR. You called me and you had this amazing idea, and now it's there. It's starting next month. Tell us how it started in your mind and why you decided to put this together.
Thanks so much, Elsie. It's exactly what you said. I saw women around me, starting with you, who are powerful, powerful people. And one of the things that has always struck me is that we have so many powerful women around us in IR, in my little world, but even if you look broadly, and every one of these powerful women I've met with, they've had challenges, but they've not stopped dreaming. You know, it's always, what do I do next? How do I scale whatever innate talents that I have? And that's one of the things I want to bring to the Women in IR subsection, the younger women who are coming up, saying there's no stopping any one of us. And unfortunately, as you said, sometimes we get grounded in our day-to-day activities. Sometimes our own biases hold us. Sometimes the outside biases hold us back. And I'm going to give you a little anecdote. And this is why I think this is so important to just kind of chart your own path. So when I was at Penn in 2003, 2002, 2003, and I was looking to move to the West Coast because of family reasons, one of the things a person I love dearly said is that, no, you shouldn't really do Stanford because Stanford's too much of basic science. So Stanford's not the right fit for you. Now, let me just put that in perspective. I've been at Stanford for the last 15, 17 years. And academically, even if I say so myself, I've been one of the most productive members of our group. And so there are biases that will hold everybody back or that will come front and center. And had I not been thinking at that point, saying, you know what, basic science or not basic science, I think I am the right fit for Stanford, I would not have made that move. And you know, the last 15 years would not have happened. So that's part of it, is that, and these are some of the most well-intentioned people.
Right.
So that's where I came from. I said, you gotta think big.
Right. And you know, so many times people give us advice, and a lot of times it's because they think they're thinking for our well-being, but it's not going to direct us in the right way. So it's a matter of thinking independently, intentionally about where you're going to go. Now, why in Women in IR? Why did you even want to be president? And then how did you incorporate that for women?
So part of the reason why I wanted to be Women in IR president was really to showcase the unbelievable talent we have. Right? Not everybody's front and center, not everybody's on the podium, but these are talented people, and really just showcase. There's nothing else that I'm doing. All I'm doing is showcasing the strength that we have in our numbers. And it is a male dominant field, and it is what it is. It's 90% men. And so sometimes the 10% women kind of get shattered out by the other 90% men. And so again, this is to put front and center, put in everybody's notice that we have one of the we have smart women all around us. One of the things that that's coming up is in the IR quarterly is showcasing, having a panel, like the next one's going to be about gold medalists, and having 3 gold medalists talk about their trajectory. Again, not something that people think about all the time, about 3 gold medalists, because most of them have been men. But again, this is where we are headed, to show the positives.
Okay, let's talk about some of the books that we've chosen together, Nishita. So for me, I chose some of the books because they're inspiring. They help they force us to think outside the box and talk about how it's not about trying harder and harder and harder to do something more, but it's actually thinking in a different way and it's starting to change the thought patterns or habitual ways so that we can really dream in, almost like, something that's seems impossible to us to make it so much bigger than the circle of where we've come from. For you, you've chosen some about some conversational and communication, which I love. Can you talk about why you chose those books?
So I tend to be both pragmatic as well as a dreamer. It's a beautiful combination. So one of the books I chose was 168 Hours. It's just one of my favorite books. And it's a practical, pragmatic book. And it really starts off with this whole notion. You have 168 hours every week. We don't think about it in those blocks. We think about it, well, it's a 24-hour day, right? But if you look at it in 168 hours and figure out what you can do, and you multiply it by 365 days, you've now just opened up this big, broad availability of yourself to do whatever you want to do. Whether it's academic, whether it's family, whether it's your own personal interest. Like I started playing bass guitar. Can't quite play it well, but still, it's one of my passions to learn music. So that was one of the books. The other books is really about communicating power. So that's another book that we've chosen. The book that I'm looking really forward to is U Squared, which was one of the books that you selected. And
And what books that we probably wouldn't have chosen ourselves from, when back in the time when we're training or even in our early careers, but really just to inspire women to know that they are more than their current environment and their current condition, and they don't have to settle for where they are, and they need to learn to dream big. And that's when things start happening. When you start believing in yourself, you start speaking in the way that you need to. You have your time management. You're talking about 168. Shout out to Dr. Christina Shenview, who's going to be leading that. We have some great authors in there who are going to be talking about self-image, Jennifer Hunt, and Dr. Bob Underwood, who's going to be talking about how do you develop your own leadership philosophy statement, and how do you, as an early to mid-career physician, really learn what leadership's all about. So I'm really excited about it. Who can join this book club? I know it's really for SIR, but can anyone else go in there?
You know what? I believe every woman should feel empowered. And so for me, this is sort of an open forum, if you will. Of course, the SIR members, the women in the female SIR members would get first dibs just because this is an SIR initiative. But again, I think if people want to join in, there's power in numbers. So feel free to either reach out to Elsie or to me, and we'll figure out if we can get you on the list. There are lots of really good resources on the Women in IR subsection of SIR, sirweb.org. There are great resources. And again, this is the rising tide lifts all.
Yes, and if you're a woman and you're interested in becoming an interventional radiologist, we highly recommend you join this as a medical student or a resident. It's open, this Women's in IR group. We'd love to have you. And my email is info@drlcco.com. So email me if you're interested in this book club. If we have room, we'll let you in, just like the president said here. So in conclusion, what would your final words would be to women physicians out there who are looking for bigger, better, more success in their lives?
I think it's just first and foremost, is you be you, right? Too often we get bogged down by the imposter syndrome where we don't think we're good enough. And I can tell you, having been in medicine for over 20 years, there's no perfect recipe. There are people who may be more accomplished on one thing, but may not be as accomplished on another front. And so you got to be you. You got to figure out where your life, what you want out of life. And then, as we said, just a minute you start thinking and opening up your mind to what else you can be, all of these resources and ideas and people will just fall into place. But the first and foremost is we have to believe that we can actually do this, right? That's the first and foremost. And then the other part of it is, there's a lot of it being read and said on mentorship and sponsorship. If there's one piece of advice I could give to the up and coming women is look out for sponsorship. It is always great to have mentors who can help you sort out some of your passions in your life. But sponsorship is a critical way of getting up on that leadership chain.
Yep. I think it's your duty, if you're a leader, to really bring someone else up, whether you're a man or a woman. I'm going to help a man or a woman physician, or, a physician to come up. So thank you so much for that. Thanks for this interview. If you're interested in hearing more about what we do, please comment and like so that we can do more podcasts just like this. And reach out to me again on my email, or check out our website at www.leadphysician.org for more information about leadership training. Nishita, how can someone contact you if they're interested in asking you some questions?
Sure. The easiest way is to just contact me via email. It's my last name at stanford.edu. So Kothary at stanford.edu. And actually, if you Google my name, I think I'm one of those few Nishita Kothary, so you should see me pop up right there. And that's the best way to reach me.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Have a nice Sunday and see you next week.
Thank you so much, Elsie, for doing this, and I really appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Bye now.